5 days for them to, but I had to take out a loan, so I just kept mine. They couldn't touch anything.
Yeah, we were in Georgia, and they hacked our account. Cricket, one of their employees, cloned our phone through the system and logged in all our
I
accounts.
was like, all right.
But with PSCC, when you drop so much, it requires voice confirmation.
Oh, okay.
And then through PSCC lost all our accounts.
Yeah. Oh, it's
So
14.
lucky.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up at the shop and losing like $7,000, which is a lot. To me, that's a
Well, their
lot.
first grant was like $7,000.
Yeah.
They're not going to get that first. Try for 20.
That's what they, yeah.
They went high and credit union locked that thing right up.
They went high on mine too. If they'd have tested it with like the $2 thing, and probably would have got it all. Like, all right, okay.
Go ahead and call the meeting to order. We'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Thacker,
Here.
Mr. Boland,
Here.
Mrs. Boyer,
Here.
Mrs. Ferry,
Here.
Mrs. Hartsfield,
Here.
Ms. Lyda,
Here.
Mr. Loman,
Here.
Mr. Richburg,
Here.
Mr. Stackelrod,
Here.
Ms. Bonzo,
Absent.
Ms. Gar,
Absent.
and Ms. Ion.
Absent. All right, with that, a motion is requested to approve the minutes of the work session of October 27, the formal business meeting of October 27, the operations committee meeting of November 6, and the work session meeting of November 10. Is there such a motion? I'll take the motion from Mrs. Hartsfield. Is there a second? I'll take the second from Mr. Richburg. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried and so ordered. Next on our list is our recognition of visitors. Please keep in mind this is limited to 5 minutes per speaker for a total of 30 minutes overall, and all speakers must be residents of Franklin Area School District. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board at this time?
Want to use a mic or just speak loud?
Sure, would you like one?
If you could use the mic, because people in the back can't hear you, please.
Hello? Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hi, I think everybody knows me. I'm Dennis Baker, and I just did a little research on our boiler system. I wanted to kind of give everybody an update of what I found out, but I talked to an architect and engineer about boiler systems, and I've worked for this architect as a superintendent over the years on certain commercial projects for him. When he gets too busy, I fill in for when the people are on vacation and stuff. But I said, do you have any boiler systems that you've installed? He said, yes, we just did one at North Clarion High School, 2022. It was a 4 million BTU, 2 boilers, all the pumps, the air separators, basically what we're going to get here. And the price come in at $424,000, which is $1 million less than this company had quoted us for boilers. And then he just did one at Keystone Elementary in 2020. Same scenario, it was $434,000 for that same boiler system. Was what the size that we need for our school. And I said, well, what kind of time frame are you looking at if, say, we wanted to do a boiler? He said 8 to 10 weeks is what it would take to get a boiler, not 52 weeks. So I'm thinking if our boiler goes down here, we still have to fix it. We're not going to get a boiler for 52 weeks. So we have to fix it or do something. If these companies locally can supply a boiler in 8 to 10 weeks for $1 million less, we could have the boiler in place before, when school breaks out in the summer, they could replace the boiler before it comes back in the winter. So, and I don't know where the 10 company was getting their prices from, but, and I talked to my next door neighbor, which is Voight Electric, about electric services, and I give him an idea of the kind of money that we were going to be spending, and he just laughed. He says, "You got to be kidding me." I said, "Well, I don't know what we're even getting," but I said, "I know right now we have a 3,500 amp service. We're going to increase it to a 4,500 amp service." And he said, "That's under a $500,000 renovation to do that," because he sells that kind of equipment. And I said, "We also are going to need a 450 kW generator." He said, "That's probably 300 grand at the most." So all the prices that I've seen from 10 are extremely inflated, is what I think. So I'm not sure if we ought to just stop and get prices from outside contractors like this. These are local companies from Slippery Rock, Meadville, that do the same type of work. But I mean, if we can save $1 million on one item, that would pay for the electric service and the field lights with $1 million of savings. So I don't know if we should stop, slow down, and take a look at the big picture. I know last week Sabrina said she didn't have enough information in front of her to make a decision like that. And I feel the same way. If we're talking about Victory, we're talking about all this stuff, I'd like to see what we're even talking about to know what we're going to have to spend. But we all know we need a boiler. That's a given. How we get it is another theory, but I think we probably need to look at these prices, because the company that's here quoting those prices, they said they got bids from other contractors, which they probably do. I don't know all that information. I just know the facts that were presented to me about North Clarion High School and Keystone. And the prices were both very similar, $424,000 and $434,000. So that's $1 million difference for the same product. And that's a 400 million BTU, 2 boilers, just like we were going to get. So I just wanted to present that to the board for something to ponder, because I know I've heard various people say that they need to have more information in front of them before they make a decision like that. And I would have to agree with that. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Well,
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the board at this time? Seeing none, your correspondence?
No correspondence, no.
People really need to write to you more.
Okay,
Superintendent's report.
yes, the federal government reopened. The state budget was passed. More information will come. We're working on seeing what our allocations would be. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll have a more firm grasp on where we're at financially, be able to report that out to the board. There were some major points in legislation that did get passed in Pennsylvania, which is exciting, and it looks like it's in a good move for Franklin Area School District. So let's see where it ends up. And I want to thank the board for their patience and everybody that worked so hard. And the other item we have, which is not listed, we want to thank Miss Alicia Hartsfield for 4 years of service on the Board of Education. We have a little gift for you, a parting gift, and Mr. Ron Richburg for 8 years of service, and they got their plaques, and we have a really nice Franklin Knight wristwatch for you to remember your time served. And
I've only been here
Thank
8
you.
years.
only 8.
I don't remember a time that you weren't on the board with me.
Yeah.
Well, remember 2 years ago, I thought I was up, and you said, Ron, you got 2 more years, but somebody comes down.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
don't remember a time prior to you, and I'm on year 11.
Just 8 years.
And I know Alicia said she's interested in being an honorable knight. And Ron is an honorable knight. We'll get you trained, get you in, get your new jerseys, and we'll go from there. But congratulations and thank you again for your service. Very much appreciated.
Anything further?
That's all.
With that, a motion is requested to accept consent grouping on items 9 through 13. Item 9 is a general fund, that's the payment of the bills from October 24th through November 13th for a total amount of $2,454,133.54. Item 10 is to approve the financial reports for the general fund as of November 13th, the treasurer's report as of October 31, and a tax collection report as of October 31. Item 11 is to approve the student activity accounts report from July 1, 2025 to November 13. Item 12 is to approve the food service profit and loss report for period ending October 31. Item 13 is for the board to approve the payment of capital reserve fund bills from October 24th through November 13th in the total amount of $33,955.46. Is there such a motion? I'll take the motion from Mr. Richburg. Is there a second? Take the second from Mr. Stapplrod. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried and so ordered. Item 14, a motion is requested to accept consent grouping on items 15 through 19. Item 15, it's recommended that the board approve the agreement between Franklin Area School District and the Venango County Human Services and Family Services and Children's Aid Society, Venango County, to provide a student assistance program for the 25-26 school year. Item 16 is for the board to grant permission to create a cooperative agreement amongst participating Venango County school districts for girls wrestling for the 25-26 and 26-27 seasons. Item 17 is recommend the board grant permission to participate in the KPN, the Keystone Purchasing Network, for 26-27 school year for general supplies, art supplies, and athletic supplies. Item 18, it is recommended the board approve the memorandum of understanding between the district and the FAEA for the position of girls wrestling coach for the 25-26 season. Item 19, it is recommended that the board approve Ms. Eaton to attend the Pennsylvania Association of School Business Officials, the PASBO Annual Conference, March 24th through the 27th in Pittsburgh. Is there such a motion? I'll take the motion from Ms. Hartsfield. Is there a second? Take the second from Mr. Richburg. Any questions or discussion? Hearing the,
I do have one, just on item 19 there, the section, the last sentence, pending approval of the state budget, since that's passed, now should that be amended?
Sure, could be.
Does it need to be?
Not really.
It doesn't need to be. I mean, it's a good point in the fact that the budget is already passed. However, in this particular case, it will not affect the outcome of the vote.
I'm good with that.
you already speaking to it. All right. Any further questions?
I have 18, the MOU did pass through their executive committee.
Perfect. All right. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried and so ordered. Board members will note that there was a typo. There is no item 20. We're going to move right on to item 21. Item 21 is Resolution 17 of 2025, the approval of the GISA services contract with the Efficiency Network Incorporated. This is their RSCO. Be it resolved that the Franklin Area School District Board of School Directors approves a Guaranteed Energy Savings Act services contract with the Efficiency Network Incorporated for boiler plant upgrades and domestic hot water heater upgrades at the junior senior high school at an amount not to exceed $1,752.83. Is there such a motion?
That number was incorrect.
What number was incorrect?
It's $1,752,083, not $752.83.
Did I read it wrong?
Yes.
Oh, well, it's written here.
Looking for motion.
Take the motion from Mr. Boland. Is there a second? Take a second from Ms. Lyda. Any questions or discussion? Sheila, we're gonna do roll call here.
I do want some discussion. Yeah. I did make a lot of points, in favor of the boilers. I would assume all of us agree we need boilers now. I would hope. Dennis, those were good points. And we need to answer it. So I'm gonna vote no until we get responses, just so everybody knows. It's $1 million. So you know why I'm voting. That's too much money on the table.
Can we table it for a month? Because if we're gonna wait 52 weeks for something,
If Dennis didn't have 50 years, and I know his work history, I literally have a whole thing written up to tell you guys to put this through. I can't do that.
And just knowing from the facilities study, to add to that, the high school, Sandy Creek, and Victory all have that same style boiler from that same vintage. And if the cost difference is truly that much, that would allow us to replace them all
The cost
at
of
all
this-
three buildings.
If we delay this, it's gonna be $250,000. But that's just too much, with Dennis. I'm nervous.
What does that look like for the work that's been done with the bond to date? Can you help us understand?
We would have to put together new formulas and new schedules if you were going to move forward at a different date. So it would stop. We're unable to borrow money unless you have an approved project.
For 2026, correct? Or 2025?
Yes. It is unlikely that if you were to come in a meeting in the third week of December, no, we would not be able to close in 25.
could we start again in January?
We can always start again.
So, start again in January. So if they approve the bond in January, that money can be used for 26? Or,
25.
I mean, it's gonna be 26, 2026.
The issue is, I was all for this. I'm sorry, Dr. Thomas, for slowing us down. The points he brings up are too big. And I can't counter what he's saying. I don't have the
Oh,
information.
definitely, I agree.
If I were able to counter Dennis, I would right now, but I can't. I don't have the information. And
May I speak whenever there's a moment?
you can't compare prices on contracts because this does include turnkey, so the design's not even done. So they just still need to do design and permitting, and they're gonna do all the inspection and everything, but yeah, everything's included. But, I need to be able to answer, I need to be able to have dialogue to respond to what Dennis brought up, and I can't do that. So I don't feel right throwing the vote out there. Although, walking in here, I was ready to argue for this.
And I'll add that, this is my own personal opinion, but I dislike using the no bid co-stars type process. I've encountered that in my previous experience working with the fire department that was very, very cost conscious, that the prices from co-stars vendors are often significantly inflated over local vendors for the same service and product.
I agree with that, but I think it's because we're in such an economically depressed area that people will do work. It's out of area cost to do compared to hiring locally, but you're right.
And this is a commercial,
CoStars is negotiable, but not very much, but I think you're correct.
and this is a commercial project, so, it's bigger than most people around here can handle, but.
Fair.
Yeah, I have a lot, but I'm just saying, if I could counter everything he just said, I would, but I can't.
Just so to keep you, Mr. Baker was elected for school board, so he will take one of these two seats in December.
And that has nothing to do with it.
No, it doesn't. I was just filling Tim in, so you know.
Appreciate it.
If I can't respond to him, I'm not ready to vote. I can vote, unfortunately. I feel like, I felt like I could have
The
got
reason I
this
was,
project through tonight, but I don't feel.
the reason I was asking for tabling is because just that, can we get the actual numbers? Because we have estimates and I don't know if any of those contractors have been in the building, seen what we have firsthand or anything else like that. But there's a lot of information we don't have and it could be an expensive mistake.
Could I speak?
Go ahead, Mrs. Blair.
Thank you. Part of my problem comes from back whenever we went to sign the agreement from 10, I asked that evening about the cost because initially there was going to be a cost for them to do this work and to be able to get this information to us. They came back with the contract for us, removing the cost. And I questioned and I said, so this is it? Because we'd already been working with the other company and we were supposed to be getting from that company a study based on the viability of the schools and, the disrepair of them and what was going to be necessary for the schools, for them to function. And I said, is this the last thing we need? And they said, yes, whenever this 10 agreement was approved, they would get back to us and we would know what the schools needed, whether the structures were viable, and then how much these things would cost. When we came into that meeting last week, we didn't get that. We got a partial of what they wanted us to start with. We didn't get a breakdown of even the partial of what that included, what the expenses were and the cost of things. And then we were told if we went ahead and paid for phase 1, then months later, we would get phase 2. So we were being asked to purchase this and not even know what we had thought we were getting in the very beginning, which was a complete listing of the schools with what they needed. That never took place. So I'm sorry, that was something that was supposed to be given to us and it wasn't. So at this point, I would like to dissolve the union. I would like us to sit down as a board and figure out what schools need what and what schools are viable.
You need to dissolve the union.
And then I would like us to put it out for a bid process for those items, saving the school districts and the taxpayers, because we don't have millions and millions of dollars to spend.
Did you see agreement? Did you see agreement?
Thank you.
So,
What union are we dissolving?
We
Because
don't have any
I could go
state
for
unless
that.
we do budgets. There are ASCO.
This is prevailing wage, right?
yes, all right, Mr. Walker, I need some advice here. This is going to a roll call vote. Going forward, let's just assume at this point, this motion is going to fail, and then we're just assuming that would. Are we better off to vote it down, or do we table it? What is our best to be able to come back around and discuss boilers again at a later time?
We selected through the operations committee to bring the first phase to the board and to do it in phases, as opposed to bring everything at once and try to get the project moving. And the reason we wanted to bring it in November is so we can not have that dollar amount count toward the 2026 $10 million bank qualified. That's why we brought it.
Okay, so a couple different things. If you're looking to do a phase 2 in 2026, it may be more expensive to do so if it is not a bank qualified amount. Under the IRS rules, you can have a bank qualified bond that is less than $10 million in any one calendar year. So if your project is, you approve the whole thing next year, the cost of financing may be more. I don't know what the market's going to look like in January or whatever it may be, but it may be more because the bank qualified, what that does is it gives credits to the banks that offer the bonds so that it's cheaper for them to do so. If you don't have that, it'll be more expensive for them to do so, so your costs of borrowing will be higher. That's just a fact of, in a decision that you would have to make. So I understand why you wanted to do portions in 25 and portions in 26 so that you could stay with
Different phases, right?
different phases and stay underneath those IRS rules. With respect to this particular contract,
We're
We've worked
only
with this
voting
contract
down,
we,
we're only voting down the resolution, not anything to do with the contract. And can the resolution be brought back up again?
the resolution can be brought back again, yes. We could vote it down if pending, if you wanted to, if it appears that it's going to be voted down, the motion could be amended to specifically allow for it to be brought back up. Well, let me think about that. No, under the Robert's Rules of Order, we can have a motion to reconsider at the next meeting. So if we vote no, we could reconsider that vote at the next meeting if that is something that this board wanted to do. But I'd have to caution you, the finances are not going to be in place at the same time.
Right.
If you come back in December and
Yeah.
say, we're going to do this deal, we're not going to be able to get a bond done in 25 at the same period of time.
Right.
There just won't be enough time if we're waiting to the third week of,
Our next meeting is December 2nd.
it's going to be really close.
I think-
I mean, we'll be hard pressed to get you a Department of Community and Economic Development approval prior to the end of the year. It takes 20 days for them to review it, and we can't even file until such time that we receive the second proof of publication and the second notice from the paper. So I'm going to tell you that you will not be able to get that financing in place in December.
Now, if the additional interest is going to cost us more, which we don't know if it'll be there or not, is it likely to be $1 million more? Because if we spend $100,000 more in interest and save $1 million on the project, we're up $900,000.
But if you get the financing, we don't have to do what they do. Just have the money to finance, whether it's 5 million, 3 million, it'll be in place to do what needs to be done. And I agree with what Dennis said. You can save the money, save the money. But at least from what he's saying,
Good point.
I
you,
don't think-
Well,
Ron's saying.
If I could, though, if I could just, a couple different things. First of all, I don't know if it would cost $1 million. I'm not the financial advisor on the deal. We'd have to leave that to them to have that review, and I can't give advice on that.
Okay.
It would be over the course of 20 years. So whatever that expense would be over the course of the 20 years would have to be calculated up, but I don't know what those numbers would be. With respect to taking the borrowing now without having the approval of the contract,
oh, I got you.
that would be a problem. It's like buying a car. You can't take the money until you have the car.
You're right.
So they need to happen at the same period of time because we'd be going to the bond market saying, this is the project that we're going to be engaging in and undertaking. And if we don't have an approval for the project, we shouldn't be taking the money.
Right, I got you. So that's
And
how.
we have to
That's
use
right.
whatever we take out in bond, right?
We have, whatever we take out in bond, we have to use for the project that is identified in the authorizing resolution. So if you look at the authorizing resolution, or at least the summary of it, which is item number 22 on your agenda, it specifically says in the last sentence, the funds to be obtained from the sale of the bonds will be used to finance capital purchases for boiler plant upgrades and domestic hot water upgrades at the Franklin Junior Senior High School and to pay for the cost of the issuance of the bonds. That is all you would be permitted to spend the money on. So if you don't do the contract, don't do the bonds.
Right, but so we can, just to make sure that we're all clear, we can, item 21 does not need to pass, and we can bring it back up at another time.
You can bring it back up at another time. You're going to have a new board post-December.
Correct.
You can bring it up after that, if that's what you want to do. Recognizing, however, you're going to be limiting your financing options for 2026. If you want to keep it under that bank qualified amount and you come in with a project that is in excess of $10 million, you will not be able to have it bank qualified. And all that means is it's going to cost a little more. Whether it's $1 million or not, I don't know and can't advise on, but it will have additional costs.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
if we do not proceed forward with 10, are we not going to receive the furtherance of their study? Is that
There's no
Contingent is-
in the contract.
okay? I was thinking that their
And 10
fees were added in there.
There are ESCO. You want to explain what an ESCO is and how they operate?
You've done this, the negotiation with them. I haven't had any discussion with them.
There are ESCO that we approved, and they're one of the highest rated ESCOs. We did an RFP for them. They scored the highest, and they will basically work with whatever the board directs them to do.
I did do some checking on 10 with the owner of a very large firm. And he said 10's a really good company. And they do all the project management, the inspection.
100%.
It's good stuff. But he said in his opinion, the biggest benefit is the no change orders. He says, because sometimes you'll just get a contractor and then they just start hammering you on change orders. He says, say you bid this out and they can't get the old boilers out. They got to bring a crane in and pull it through the roof or something wild. The school doesn't pay for any of that. They pay that set price with 10.
The energy savings company guarantees it. You get an ESCO.
My issue is not with 10. My issue is we got somebody that said in 2 school districts they did it for $1 million cheaper. And we need to be able to respond to that comment, unfortunately. In my opinion, I'll say.
I agree.
It will delay, the delay in this project is $215,000 if we delay it 1 month. So everybody's aware. Because prevailing wage rate goes up January 1st, as well as equipment costs.
The ordering doesn't take 52 months to get a boiler. That would be for the electric, what is it called?
Switch gear.
Yes,
Switch gear.
switchgears.
Yeah, the
They
same
would
for
start-
switch.
They would start this summer on the project, and delaying it, I don't know if they're able to still start it in the summer. They might have to wait another summer to do it.
Well, in all due respect, we've got other companies who have said that they can get them in 8 to 10 weeks compared to their 52 weeks. So if they, just by us waiting 1 month so that we know what it is we're bidding on and what we're agreeing to, if 1 month is going to kick them out, well then I guess they didn't want our business.
I guess I'd respond to that by saying, I'm not ready to debate with Dennis's comments, but I will when I am.
Could we call a special board meeting and get that information?
Before we do anything, let's
Well-
we vote on this, see if it's good to pass or not, and go from there, or do you not?
Well, let's consider this.
Okay.
If there is an appetite to call a special meeting in a week or so that you can get more comfortable with whatever the numbers are, then I'd suggest we just table it until that period of time. And then I can go back and speak with the underwriter about rescheduling the pricing and the issuance of the bonds. And we can get new dates for that, and then everything could stay alive. If there's the appetite on this board to do that.
My question is, what is the rush when we have a board meeting coming up in December, that new board is going to have to be making these decisions? You know, if we all agree now, we don't want to do it, why are we pushing and forcing something before the new board gets a chance to come in and have their say?
I understand what you're saying, Mrs. Boyer, but I think the reasoning behind it, someone correct me if I'm wrong, is it to use 2025 funds at a lower rate than 2026 funds? That's just the timing of it.
The inflation, the
So then
costs.
we would save on prevailing wages and on equipment if we do it right.
And according to 10, we would have to do it now to have the equipment here for next summer. They haven't designed this job yet, and the permitting's not done. So there is design time before they can even order it, the equipment, and permitting time. There's time.
If we voted and it passed, or if it failed, we can reconsider it, or would it be best to table it, council?
I would, yes, you can reconsider it. I am not familiar if you have a local rule here at the school board and any bylaws or anything that says you're not able to bring something back up. Absent that, there's no reason why you can't.
I don't believe there is.
I have some school districts that have local rule books that say certain things to that degree, but I'm not your regular solicitor, so I don't know the answer to that question. It's rare.
Randy,
You're
you're our guy.
I haven't looked it up yet.
We could call a recess break. Randy, check. We have our policies on that.
We could check. If you want to call a recess so we could do a quick check, we could do so.
What information are we going to need from contractors and companies to have before we make this decision? Because right now we have examples of what they've done other places, but we don't have any kind of a quote or anything for what they would do here.
10 can't do a quote because they haven't even done a design. They just did a recommendation. We'll need to contact those school districts that were identified and say, what did your projects look like? And compare.
What it costs.
Yeah. What, is your school the same size as ours? Did you do the same type of work? I'm not calling Dennis a liar. I'm saying we need to validate everything he said with what we're looking at and say.
And I'm sure every job is different, even if they were equal
Sure.
in square footage.
But did his include project management and design and oversight? I don't know. I don't know the answer to this.
Years, yeah.
Make sure.
Facility studies,
Yeah.
feasibility studies, reports, did it include all that? I don't know.
How did they come up with the price if they didn't have a design?
Because they work in the industry, they know what it's gonna cost. But they don't, the design is your
I'm sure
details.
And that's the other question I have, when I asked for an itemized, cost of the different things, we should have been given that night they gave us the PowerPoint, all it was is, here's your dollar amount, and that's 2 boilers. For us to vote on this stuff, we gotta have more information than that. And if you're telling me that they never did the design, how are you giving me a dollar price? Because you're saying, well, we have to make sure someone else came in and looked at everything. Well, according to you, they didn't do a design, so they really don't have a firm.
Well, I mean, from their perspective, why would they do a design for a board that's gonna take it to another contractor?
Well, and that's the problem we have, because we're paying for a luxury that we really can't afford. We're paying for them just to go ahead and manage and oversee everything. Whereas if we actually went ahead and got the bids ourselves, the dollar amount is gonna be less. That's what they're getting paid for them to be able to design and do everything. That's how they slap another $1 million on.
So I want to be very clear, and when I respond to that, the operations committee and the board, it may have been before you came on, so I do need to clarify this. The board, as general, agreed that we do not any longer want to manage projects with school district employees because we got burned on it.
Right.
So we needed project managers and actual inspectors to do these projects, not school district employees who don't work in the industry. So that ties into some of the roof issues we had. We got burned. We got burned good. So we agreed that projects moving forward would have a project manager.
Ms. Lyda, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I just want to make a motion to table this resolution pending another meeting possibly next week. So that we can get our ducks in a row.
Is there a second to her motion? A second from Mr. Stafford. Any questions or discussion on tabling this?
I ask that you table item 21 and 22.
Ms. Lyda, Mr. Stafford?
Yes, I agree to
I
amend
agree.
my motion.
All right. Any questions or discussion on the tabling? With that, could we roll call, please? And a vote of yes is a vote to table. A vote of no is to proceed with the items as listed.
Ms. Thacker,
Yes.
Mr. Boland,
Yes.
Mrs. Boyer,
No.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mrs. Hartsfield,
Yes.
Ms. Lyda,
Yes.
Mr. Loman,
Yes.
Mr. Richburg,
Yes.
Mr. Stafford.
Yes.
Carried and so ordered. So moving forward. 23. Item 23 is recommend the board approve resolution 19 of 2025. That's the reimbursement resolution for itemized expenditures from the proceeds of the general obligations bond
Series 2025.
If I may comment on this, this is a function of the IRS code, which says that if you have a reimbursement resolution in anticipation of potential public financing, then you can reimburse costs that you've already incurred in furtherance of that project, so long as you have this resolution in place. Passage of this resolution does not obligate you in any way to do the public financing. It's merely a checkbox to hit to say that if you do this, it's done, and you can apply some of the costs that you've already incurred to the financing. You can reimburse yourself. If you never do the bond, it'll never happen. If you do a new bond in 2026, we'll do a new reimbursement resolution. So this is nothing more than getting it off the table so you don't have to worry about it later, but it in no way obligates you to do the project, and it in no way obligates you to incur the financing.
Board members, we need a roll call for this. All right, is there such a motion? Take the motion from Ms. Lida. Is there a second? Take the second from Mr. Boland. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried and so ordered. Item 24, it is recommended to approve resolution, these numbers may be changed, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay, resolution 20 of 25. Franklin Area School District participate and appoint representatives to the Allegheny Intermediate Unit Joint Purchasing Program for the 26-27 school year. We will be using this to purchase our fuel, diesel, and gasoline. Is there such a motion? I'll take the motion from Mr. Richburg. Is there a second? Take the second from Mr. Lohman. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried and so ordered. Item 25, a motion is requested to accept consent grouping on items 26 through 29. Item 26 is recommended to approve the service agreement between Franklin Area School District and the Standard & Poor's Global to obtain a credit rating. Item 27, it is recommended to approve the service agreement between Franklin Area School District and the Digital Assurance Certification LLC to assist the district with submitting debt-related documents in compliance with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Item 28, it is recommended to approve the 24-25 school year budget transfers from the audit as presented. Item 29 is recommended for the 26-27 Act 1 budget timeline as presented. Is there such a motion? Take the motion from Ms. Lida. Is there a second? Take the second from Mr. Stackelrod. Any questions or discussion? On items 26 and 27, does that have to do with the district or that bond?
No, these are our rating, and the digital systems program is to be able to basically track it, is what it does, with the SEC.
I still need these services.
Okay.
Yeah, these are reporting services.
Any further questions? All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried and so ordered. Item 30, motion is requested to accept consent grouping on items 31 to 41. Item 31, the board to approve the appointment of Tanya Hamilton for the position of instructional aide, personal carried at Central. Item 32, it is recommended to approve the employment of Dustin McKenzie for the position of instructional aide, personal carried at the senior high school. Wow. Item 33 is recommended that the board approve the employment of Deanna Wolfbaum for the position of instructional aide, personal carried at Central. Item 34, it is recommended the board approve the employment of Ainsley Kissel for the position of art teacher at the senior high school, effective November 10th. Item 33, it is recommended the board approve Kristen McDonald for the position of cafeteria server and dishwasher at the senior high school. Item 36, it is recommended the board approve the resignation of Amy Atkins, custodian at Central. Item 37, that we approve the resignation of Carly Savin, guidance counselor at Sandy Creek. Item 38 is recommended to approve the list of teachers, guest teachers, secretaries, aides, custodians, nurses, and cafeteria substitutes. That would be Amy Thompson as nurse, guest teacher Cameron Allison and Trey Wagner, and aide Cheyenne Savage. Item 39, it is recommended to approve the following supplemental contract resignations for the 25-26 school year. That would be Sienna Vogel, Brian Reed, and Holden Cook. Item 40, it is recommended to approve the following supplemental contracts for the 25-26 school year. Maggie Woods, and Minna Hoffman, and Nicholas Lallman, assistant to head coach of wrestling. And item 41, it is recommended the board approve the following volunteers for the 25-26 school year. Angela Rankin for junior high basketball and wrestling. Is there such a motion? Take the motion from Ms. Lyda. Is there a second? Take the second from Mr. Richburg. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried, and so ordered. Item 42, a motion is requested to accept consent grouping on items 43 through 46. Item 43, it is recommended the board accept the resignation of Karen Heffernan, breakfast and lunch server at Sandy Creek, as effective November 24. Item 44, it is recommended the board approve the agreement between Regional Counseling Center and the Franklin Area School District for a 2-year service agreement, no cost to the district. Item 45, it is recommended the board approve the agreement between Comprehensive Children and Family Services and Franklin Area School District for a 5-year service agreement. There again is no cost to the district. Item 46, it is recommended the board approve the employment of Scott Walters for the position of long-term substitute at the junior senior high school effective November 24. Is there such a motion? Take the motion from Mr. Stackelrod. Is there a second? Take the second from Mr. Richburg. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, and so ordered. Item 47, anything for informational purposes?
No, that's all we have. Just, if you have a chance, please Google what I sent you in an email. I think that's really important for the 5 groups that we are working with. You know, you think back to the 1980s, the Dream Team, the Olympics. This team we have put together is very well known and very well respected in the field. And we want to thank, obviously, Tim Walker, our bond solicitor, or our bond counsel, not our solicitor.
Did you really just compare our contractor with the Olympians?
Yeah, the Dream Team. Remember the Dream Team?
Yeah.
The 5 people.
Good,
Check it
good,
out.
good.
You have to Google it and see what AI has to say. It's amazing. Yeah. But I do have board communication.
Item 48, board communication, the Pennsylvania Department of Education releases subsidy payments this evening.
I should have had that on their information. I apologize. I just want to let everybody know that the Department of Ed is releasing payments. We'll get about $4 million in about 2 weeks. So they're very fast after the budget got adopted. They're releasing the subsidies as of July. What we would have gotten in July, 1 payment, then August, then September. So it is coming. We'll get about $4 million in about 2 weeks, and then the rest will come over the course of 6 weeks. But we're fine. So I want everybody to know that. I attended a webinar on the budget. I can't really speak yet because it's just so much to unpack. There are some good points. I think basic ed, special ed, and ready to learn. We're going to get what the governor had said in February, so that's promising. We didn't have any lower amounts, so that's good. I'm still unpacking the cyber reform. There's a lot to do with that one, so I need a little bit more time. But I'm just glad we have, the Commonwealth has a budget in place, and they're releasing the funds now.
Anything else for the good of the order?
I have one thing.
Go up.
Go ahead.
I was lucky enough, privileged enough to attend 3 of the school's Veterans Day celebrations. And I was the speaker over at Sandy Creek. And 2 of them stood out. They were at Sandy Creek and at Victory. And they were both put together by Mr. Bill Weltman. And he did an excellent job. And he did it twice at 2 different schools. So I just wanted to call him out for that.
I have a couple final things. Again, Ron, thank you, and please extend your thanks to Melanie for letting you sit on the board for 8 years. And Mrs. Hartsdale, would you please ask you to introduce your family so we can thank them? Well, you are.
They didn't know they were doing
Oh,
all that.
boy.
You didn't think he was gonna get away from that. You got them all.
My
Please.
husband and my dad, who's an alumni, came here, and all my kids. I'm thankful for them. Not all of them. We're missing one.
You're not thankful for all of
Sorry.
them.
Thankful for all of them, and I couldn't make it. Of course, he has a baby. So
Oh, you didn't
know, all
just
that
lose them
stuff.
somewhere.
And I did prepare something
Yes.
because I didn't know. So Ron, think of things to say. as
Oh,
I-
that's fine.
No pressure.
And I wrote it real quick, so it might be a little jumbled. But losing an election is a very humbling experience. But I feel like we need that every once in a while. But I know God has other plans for me. When I decided to run as a write-in, I had no idea what I was signing myself up for. Then halfway through my term, my husband's company asked us to temporarily move out to Washington State for 2 years. With having my family farm business and commitment to being on the school board, my husband graciously agreed that I could fly back home every month to continue. Direct flights were not an option, so I flew on over 80 different flights over the last 2 years. To me, it was worth it. When I decided to run again, I did not cross file. I also have had strong opinions over my term, even though I was quiet this one. And did not shy away from letting people know I'm a member of Moms for Liberty. Some suggest those might have been reasons why I did not win this election. Over the last 4 years, I have met amazing people that work and volunteer at our school. Some of my fellow board members were on the board during COVID. I do not envy having to go through that trying time. This duty is not easy, and we all put a lot of time and thought into it. Looking back over the last 4 years, I have no regrets. We as elected officials have to know what we stand for and be bold no matter what the cost. We are in a weird time where adults are putting so much pressure on children to grow up, while sometimes the adults that are supposed to be their role models are acting like children. The kids are watching us, and we should be honest and do not hide from our different opinions. Decide what you believe in and don't make apologies for it. When I decided to run for the school board, my dad warned me that politics are corrupt. But that is one of the reasons I ran. Our country's structure of government turns into politics when politicians forget how they got to their position. Hopefully, through hard work, service to their community, and a good reputation with the majority of the community backing them to represent their fellow countrymen. We sometimes feel the need to keep business separate from the public, but we are only here because of the public and in their best interest. There are consequences to our decisions that we make, and that's okay. But behind every emotion of anger, defiance, pride, and hatred, there is a fear, full of self-preservation, ignorance, or selfishness. We need to have a boldness to stand up for what's right, not forgetting to be careful not to tear each other down. Division is weakness. I'm so thankful for the relationships I've made and the experiences that I've had getting to be proud to be a Franklin Knight. I just want to thank everybody that supported me, especially my family. And I also want to thank the fellow board members and the board members that are coming on. It is not an easy job and should not be taken lightly. Thank you to all the staff at the school. Your work does not go unnoticed. Thank you to Helen for being a kind reporter while not shying away from tough topics. Thanks to all the families and the children that we are making decisions for. Always trying to put safety first and making the best effort that a school can give. Lastly, but most important, God not only is my creator, but my help. I wouldn't have been able to do this without him. I look forward to being an honorable knight in the new year and continuing to support the district.
Wow.
You're next.
Wow.
All right, put me on.
Where's
Well,
the spotlight?
it's I enjoyed my time on the board here, and initially I had no reason to be a board member, but our previous president, Brian Spade, had approached me to be on the board. I'm friends with Brian. He said, I think you'd be a good representative for the school board. At the time, it was to replace somebody that had to come on. So it was to be a 2-year term. And I didn't apply. I said, 2 years later, he approached me again when the election, and I said, I decided to do it. I talked with my wife, and I talk to my pastor, and she said, by all means. So I went ahead and filed and got elected, and I went against certain people. You know, first thing I said when I was running, I said, well, why would you want to do a thankless job? And you know, so that for the most part, most people have thanked me for being on the board. I don't think it is a thankless job. I got on the board for the school district. I'm alumni here, and for the students, for the kids. That's my main reason to be on the board, was to do whatever I could do for the community and the students in our school district. And I've enjoyed my time here. One of the things I'll remember being on the board was being able to get this Honorable Knights Day program started here. Teacher, I can't remember her name, approached me. They went on a field trip up to Erie and did a thing on Honorable Knights. They went on a field trip to see the Honorable Knights was there. Not the Honorable Knights, excuse me, the Blue Coats. And she was impressed with what the Blue Coats was doing up in the Erie School District, and come back to me and approached me and said, hey, I think you're the one to maybe get this started, get a program moving here. And I followed up on it, and we had some issues that was going on. COVID put it back, that a couple of years, or maybe it was 3 years ago, we had some things going on here at the high school concerning racism that, and our solicitor, Jen Gornell, said, hey, can you get certain people in the audience, in our school boards, different members, administration, and we got together and we was able to get the Honorable Knights started down here. It, you know, the people that were on the committee, a couple of them went up with me to Erie, to the Blue Coats, and watched what they did up there and gave us an idea of what we could implement. Theirs was different than the problems we had down here, but with the administration, teachers, the feedback I've got from them, they were glad we have the Blue Honorable Knights down here right now. So that's one of the things. I enjoyed working with my fellow board members. One of the things I was hesitant about coming on, because there was discord or cohesive to the previous, before I got on here. But when I got on here, we were cohesive. We had a cohesive group, and I enjoyed the time with them. And the one thing I probably said was time consuming, we had to go through twice, was finding a new superintendent. I'm glad to say we got the right guy this time. That was a lot of time. That was very time consuming, looking for a superintendent, but it was worth it though. We got Mr. Gino Thomas, and I think we're in good hands. I feel that way with me coming off the board and that. So it's
You do it, because
I just want to thank you, the board members, for my time here. Now I gotta go home and tell my wife. She said, don't get up there and cry. I'm not gonna tell
You
her.
have one more meeting.
I have one more meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Next week.
But yeah, I've enjoyed my
I'm
time.
not coming.
She's taking her watch and running. I'll just hold this for you until next.
Everybody forgot.
But you have gifts and everything. I
Well,
think.
we're not gonna take them back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You voted for it.
I've enjoyed my time here on the school board. Alicia. Yeah. All right. This wouldn't have happened if you wouldn't.
Yeah, blame me. It's okay. I'm just
No,
glad you
no,
tried.
it's
I did
good.
it for once.
No,
so.
it's good. I'm proud to, my time and service here for the Franklin area school district.
Well, I'll tell Melanie anything you want us to tell her.
Well, we're telling her. We're telling her.
Well, Tracy and Sabrina told her, yeah, I'm not gonna say.
I already
Everybody else
texted her.
cried.
Thank you.
So,
before we adjourn, we want to talk about what would be a date next week, would be for a special board meeting, if we can get this information.
Next week.
24, 25, 26.
Is there school on 26?
No, no school on the 26th.
I mean, we need 24 hours notice.
Sir?
That's it. We might be able to get it sooner. You're allowed to have board meetings on weekends too.
What time of day would that be? Because I'm already the head referee at the VEX robotics competition that's going to be held here on the 24th, and I don't know what time that's going to end.
What time?
It runs all day long, and depending on a lot of factors, it may run late. Generally unpredictable, but I mean, I'll just be down at the gym, so.
I have a meeting the 25th at 7
25th is a bad day.
for me.
Okay.
Has to do with the fourth.
So we need 24 hours notice. I don't know how long. We'll regroup tomorrow with the ESCO and also our bond counsel and our bond underwriter. And we'll contact and see what those other districts have. We'll go from there and we'll communicate with the board. I'll send it out. Is that okay?
What's the date?
We don't have a date yet. We know that the 24th, or wait, the 25th is not good.
You said you could make it on the 24th. You just have to come from the gym, right?
Yeah, I don't know what time that ends. It probably will end in plenty of time for a
Yeah.
6, 7 o'clock meeting.
Okay.
But there's an outside chance I'll be delayed. So if you give 24 hours and send me all the stuff, you know, you didn't run the numbers and all the
Would
usual.
anybody be interested in a weekend board meeting? Okay. We'll get it before then. We'll get it before then.
I need to think about that answer, just.
I'm busy. When is it?
Remember, I went through the pleasure before.
Can't be during the Steelers
You
game.
got it. Yep, let us see.
Just a question, isn't the next board meeting the 5th?
No.
I could be wrong on that, I, on the date.
December
The
2nd. It's
second,
at the bottom
yeah.
of the agenda.
That's the next regular
Yeah.
board meeting.
Tuesday the second is the
Regular
reorg
meeting.
meeting, so it's the first Tuesday of December.
So would you say the 8th,
No, the second.
the 2nd?
Right.
So why are we trying to shove it over Thanksgiving if we're already meeting on the 2nd?
So that we can get the
So we can
financing
get it in
done.
for the financing for 2025, and the rates would be different.
So the banks aren't even open probably on the 26th and 27th.
No.
And you're telling me that the 2nd, that would be that much of a difference?
Yeah, the difference is with the Department of Community and Economic Development, Local Government Unit Debt Act financing wait period. In that if we were able to get it in that, at the end of that week or the beginning or on the 1st, there's a chance that we'd be able to get it back in time for a closing still in December. If we have to wait until the 2nd and have the meeting and then run a second advertisement after that, it's just going to push us back another week and we won't be able to get it done in place in 2025. As it is, we're playing with the difference of 2 or 3 days with whether we'd be able to get it done. But if we don't do it next week, I can't guarantee we'd be able to have a financing in place for 2025.
Should we choose to?
Should you choose to do so.
But right, but the only question I have though is it wouldn't be every day next week though, right? Because aren't you guys closed on 26, or I mean, not 26, but 27 and 28?
It'll probably be on the 24th.
We might even have it earlier this week or later this week.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a long meeting if we can get the information. We need 24 hours to advertise it, and that's it.
Right, but don't we need time to be able to get the comparisons? Is that
Yes,
what you're
that's what we're
saying?
going to do. Tomorrow at 8 a.m. sharp, we will be on the phone, working all day, our energies on this, the administrative team. That's what we'll be doing, and we'll bring us back to the board at the meeting.
Okay, question, maybe I misunderstood. So this first part, you have to have a dollar amount in order to do this and a contract, right?
Say bond, yes.
So aren't we going round robin again?
I don't know what that means. What's that mean?
I don't think so. My understanding,
See, we already said before, we don't have enough information, so you're coming back with the exact same company and the exact same vote as this.
The
So that you
ESCO.
can get the money in 25, but it's still for the same contract, same vote, right?
The ESCO is a company that we are working with, the Efficiency Network. And they can use different vendors. We're going to check to see if the prices are as they are. We're going to look at apples and apples. And then we will let the board know and make a determination and come back. We have to bring you that information.
We get the numbers were in English in the other districts.
I can't hear you.
Right, I just so I'm clear though,
Yeah,
because Ms.
we'll get the-
Thacker
I'm gonna
last
get
week
the
was
contract. We'll
not
get the contract.
comfortable with it because we don't have all that other information. So we still don't have all that other information pertaining to what the jobs that are going to need to be done at the other schools, but we're now going to vote on this same thing again next week.
The other information by the Operations Committee spacing it out, so we wouldn't have to rush it and have a new board seated, will be looked at with the feasibility study after the new year in February or March. This is the first stage phase, which was the boilers and the other work.
The hot water.
Hot one.
Hot water, yes.
Which locks us into using 10, right?
We're using them, we have approved them through an RFP process. I don't understand, they're not installing it themselves.
The project
My
manager.
question is, we signed that contract saying we either, if we don't use them for anything, then we do not have to pay for their service. I'm saying if we decided not to use them, right, then we would not have to pay incur their fees. But if we do, once we go down this rabbit hole, then we have to use them for all of those projects, right?
No,
Tim,
the contract specifically says that once phase one is completed, and phase one is all of this 1.75 number is phase one. Once that's completed, they would put together a proposal for phase two, and then you would have 10 days in which to make a decision as to whether you wanted to move forward with them on phase two.
Okay, so you're gonna get us the prices, and if we were to go ahead and vote for them to do this particular job, we are not obligated to use them for any other services, and we would not incur any other fees?
There's specific language in the contract that says that you have 10 days in which to 10 days in which to reject the phase two proposal that they will put together for you. And the only fees that would be incurred would be any project wind down fees if they were to have mobilized on the site.
Right, so we would have additional fees. That's what I just wanted to make sure of.
I don't know that because I don't know exactly all of what wind down opportunities they may have. I believe that phase one is largely just the purchase of capital equipment and some of the studies. We would have to pay them for the work that they'd be doing through phase
Okay, so
one.
now I'm requesting then, when we have this next meeting to vote, I want to know if we vote for this one project through them and we decide not to do phase two, I want to know what additional costs we have to pay them.
I don't believe that, respectfully, I don't believe that we would be able to, that the administration would be able to provide you with that information based upon my review of the contract, which I did late last week. That would be very specific as to where they are in the actual project at that time. However, they have very general contract language in their contract that speaks to not accepting the next phase. In most of these contracts, there's going to be a more active construction component going on during these phases. And if you're not choosing for them to go to the next phase, they have to pay to pull their equipment back. They have to pay to reassign their people and all of those things. It does not appear to me that it's going to be that involved with this particular phase of this contract, so that I would not anticipate that there would be a large amount of fees, if there would be any fees at all. I mean, Kim,
Okay,
is
but
that,
once
is an
again,
appropriate?
You guys are willing to vote on something that we don't know, because you're saying they can't tell us that.
I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that what you're asking for is possible because we wouldn't know until the actual end date and they move on to something else for us to know what they need to take back. I agree with what you're saying in theory, but I don't think it's feasible to know what.
Well, no, we're, all
you have
we're saying, oh, we're gonna go ahead and rush this through, and then we'll leave the other board, the new board, to go ahead and take care of the rest of the projects, but that's not how it goes. Because you do this first project, if we do anything with them, as you say, then they go ahead and prepare phase two, and then if we decide not to go with them, we are going to incur costs, whatever those may be, which we don't know right now.
Correct, but there's no way for us to know or for them to know, because my understanding is in a normal contract, if it's construction, if they'd have 8 pieces of equipment here and we said no to it, we'd pay for them to take their equipment back to their home base. Whereas, and we're just putting in a boiler, so where there shouldn't be large fees at the end if we choose not to go to phase two because there's no real equipment or people to move back to their home base. Did I get that accurately?
Correct.
Okay.
And there's
my-
there's no project
I
overlap.
thought he said
Right.
after phase one, they will give us phase two.
They'll propose it.
They'll prepare a
Right.
proposal.
So if they have any engineering costs or anything for phase two, and they give that to us, if we turn that down, that could be a cost we incur.
No, there would be the outstanding costs from phase one and demobilization fees. It would not include the cost of preparing a proposal for phase two.
That makes sense.
Leslie, did you hear Attorney, Tim, did you hear?
I couldn't hear the second part of that.
I said that the only real cost that you could be potentially exposed to would be the demobilization fees costs, which we do not believe that there would be any significant costs due to how the project's been proposed or structured. And if you rejected their phase two proposal, you would not be charged for the cost of the preparation of that proposal. That's just a business cost for themselves.
So we would incur whatever that mobilization fee would be. And then, do we have any engineering or any costs like that from the first phase?
Well, all of that would have been included within your first phase fees that you would have paid. So we're talking about is if you reject their proposal for phase two, all the costs incurred during the operation of phase one are part of the 1.752083 that the contract was proposing.
So this mobilization fee would be what we would owe, that's the only fee?
Based off my recollection of the contract, yes, the demobilization fee, if they were to have if they were to have equipment or other things here that they would have be leaving the school district, the cost for them to physically leave and bring all of their things back to their main office and depart from here, we would pay those costs.
And we would have no idea what those costs are.
And the timeline to try to reconvene, put out another RFP, which I don't know why we would. I don't know what the issues are. Like I said, they followed our lead from the first day they came here all the way up to 2 years leading up to this date. We did a public request for proposals, scored them, selected them. Did you look at the references? Everybody have a chance to Google these companies?
Yeah.
You're not going to get better than this company. They're excellent. Their reputation's excellent. Duquesne Light, a subsidiary of them. I don't know where we would be able to go from here. I'm just talking as your superintendent. I don't know what your ideas are.
Well, the problem I saw was exactly what Sabrina said, is we don't have any prices on anything of what any of the schools need. This is all we know, but once we go down the slope and we sign on with them.
Leslie, we're already signed on with them. We approved them a while back. That's phase two. Phase two will be their proposal with all the costs. The reason we wanted to bring phase one was so we didn't have to count the $10 million qualified bank as part of the bond, which would go, if we exceeded that, it would be much more expensive. And if we did it in November, or hopefully within a week, then we would not have incurred the costs on that $10 million in 2026. We could start now, and that would count for 2025. We know the boilers, we know the pipes, they did their evaluation for phase one. This is the lowest hanging fruit, probably the easiest decision, but then we have to move forward and go to phase two.
When we were given that contract, you said if we choose not to follow through with them, then we incur no cost. That's what you said. Now you're saying we have to continue with them. Which is it?
I didn't say that. No, no. I didn't say that. If we don't continue with them, we're gonna incur a lot of costs on
Right,
wasting
yeah.
time, on the
Right,
inflation,
exactly.
finding another company that we have no idea that would not be the top rated company. We'll probably incur a lot of costs.
Well, I think over $1 million in excess for a furnace is a lot of cost too.
We will find that out. That's what the administration's gonna do, starting tomorrow at 8 AM. And when we have that information ready for everybody on the board, we will notify you and try to call the special board meeting. We need 24 hours notice.
And I'll have to do a new advertisement for the bond.
Yep.
Should we
We'll be
do that as
working
well?
with Our bond counsel and also our bond underwriter as well. And 10.
I think Leslie's conflating
Yeah.
the contracts between Huckenstein and TEN.
Oh,
I don't know.
Huckenstein's the one who said if we didn't proceed with them, we wouldn't have to pay anything. TEN is an ESCO. We've already voted and we've already said we're
Yeah,
going to go with
Right,
that.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I
Besides the
think that's, I
contractor,
think that's where she's
Mechanical
conflating the two
contractor doesn't
concepts.
do it, yeah, do the work.
Which is all in the meeting notes.
That's a 78-year
Let's do it.
company that's top rated.
I mean, they're all under the same roof, but they're
Yep.
two separate companies.
Okay.
Any further things for good of the order? I don't even know.
No.
Motion's requested to adjourn. Yes, Cheryl, you can have it.
oh, it had to be Ron and Alicia.
Oh, okay, wait,
Sorry.
Ron, I'll take the
I don't care.
motion from
Just
Ms.
do it out here.
Hartsfield, the second from Mr. Richburg. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, and so ordered. Let the the board adjourned at 8:15 PM.
Thank you, everybody.
Sorry, Cheryl, you're always the one that's like.
Oh, I'm just busy over here.
So Kim, what is the, what's the rule in advertising?